Cheers. I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 287 of Wise Advice, and Happy New Year. I know we're 11, 10, 13 days into the year, depending on when you're going to hear this, but I wanted to give you time to get settled in, find out what was really working for you, get into your routine, and then boom, right back at it for a dose of Wise Advice motivation. If you don't already get the app already in your app store, go to your Apple App Store, look for Wise Advice with FatDag, or your Google Play Store. It's also listed in there. While you're out there, drop a review. Appreciate that. Let other people know what you're listening to and how it's working for you. So I want to also let you know on FatDag.com, if you are signed up for the newsletter, you may already be getting it. Every Friday afternoon, I'm devoting to pushing out a weekly update. That weekly update will tell you when the 5 a.m. club is going to start. It tells you when the podcast episodes are going to be released. It tells you when the Discord chats are going to be. It tells you when my workshops are. And then it starts the whole thing off with a little bit of a motivational quote at the top. So if you did not get one already, go to fatdag.com, click on the subscribe to the email newsletter book, also known as free workbook. That's out there, and you'll be entered into the email distribution list, and you'll get that. So thank you always for supporting me in my journey and your journey alike. You know we are better together, and I appreciate all of your support. Out of Washington, D.C., Sonia writes in with the very first email of this show. She says, where do I start? I have over 20 years of active federal service. I do understand the struggle of being judged by a number on the scale. I saw your first posting 3 years ago. Your raw honesty caught my eye. Many of us are ashamed to admit that we struggle and that we need support. I never struggled until I got older and I got slower. Every day I check your posting. I used you as a mantra in my head. I told everyone I know about you and your journey. I have celebrated your successes, and I'm with you as you refocus. You earned your freedom from the scale. I take mine everywhere I go, which is so sad. I cannot relax, at least not for now. I love how human and down to earth you are. Hey, you gained some back, but it happens to everyone I know that is retired. I think it's a package deal. My husband put on 50 pounds, and he's trying to get that off now, but it's hard. Once the requirement's not there anymore, it's hard for some of us. I know from my foxhole, some of us need your kind words of encouragement. I have you in my head. You did not come here for the cookie. Just get your water and go. And an attendance goal. I have that as part of my routine. I'm not part of WW because the new plan did not work for me. I need more structure, but I heard that they may change to a new format. I will wait for that. So far, the only thing that helps me keep my weight off is you. Much love, Sonia. Sonia, thank you for your incredibly generous heart and the way you crafted your email. Truly one of the better ones that comes in my inbox on this subject. So thank you. It put a smile on my face when I read it. I couldn't wait to get it on the air. And so I hope by now you're back into the new My WW. I think that information is well out there now. 3 plans, 1 program, 3 ways to live it: green, blue, and purple. I think you're going to probably, like myself, fall back into the green world. That seemed to provide what I was looking for that matched up with my lifestyle. So hopefully you've already found that. But let's talk about, us working together in a sense where we're doing the same thing. 20 years federal service, 27 for me. It's just one of those, and you're obviously counting. It's one of those things that yeah, it's a requirement that we maintain our fitness. And that's what the whole point of Operation FatDag is to help those who don't know how to do this or don't find the motivation or whatever they're looking for. OperationFatDag.org gives them that level of support. But it goes a little bit beyond that. And you said in your note that, yeah, as the requirement drifts away with retirement, some of that creeps back up. And, I can tell you it's not so much retirement as the bubble. It's a complete lifestyle adjustment that I wasn't ready for or prepared for the same way I was regimented in my day-to-day schedule of getting up every morning, going to work, that type of stuff. Now, having a complete schedule to myself, it's a completely different ballgame. And so I just wanted to also shout out to you and say, your email, like I said, came in with a dose of grace. And I can tell you now, I feel so much better. I'm working on trying to find that right balance that balances my lifestyle with my eating and with my social calendar, with all the events that I'm doing. And together, it's working. And so your kind words as well resonated with me, and I just want you to know we got this, right? And so the freedom from the scale comes from by you owning your journey, all right? It doesn't matter what the number on the scale says. You can be happy at every weight. I support that. Can you be healthy at every weight? There's some debate on that, right? But for the most part, you can be happy at any weight. At that point, then you start getting your body healthy, and then your body determines what weight it wants to be for the rest of your life as you continue to treat it properly by nourishing it well and exercising it as it needs. That is the recipe for success, but it all starts in your mind. It all starts with you saying, I'm happy, and I'm going to change my life. And that's what you've done. So folks, anyone else there listening, if you're not in the happiest you've ever been, it's time to just smile. That's it. Just start with a smile. The next person you see, give them a great big smile and say, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever the greeting it is, but just let them know that you're in a great place. They're not going to say, when you look at them, say, hey, good morning, they're going to say, yeah, well, how much do you weigh? No, it's not going to happen like that. So the only one that knows your number is you, unless you put it on Twitter, but that's a whole different conversation. But the only one that knows your exact number is you. But people can tell by looking at you if you are happy or not. They can tell by the way you carry yourself if you are a happy, energetic, go-getting kind of person, and it has nothing to do with your scale number. Sonia, keep up the amazing work. Thank you so much for your dedication to this country. It means the world to me, as you know. That was my career as well. And those of us who step up and say, yeah, we've got this, a special place in my heart, always and forever. So thank you, thank you, thank you. This next email comes in at Tinley Park, Illinois. Jan writes in. She says, Dear Mike, hey, I started writing this on the heels of the Indy Ultimate. However, as we say, life got in the way. It was a wonderful weekend, including your retirement ceremony, retirement party, and of course, participation in the Indy Ultimate. My gratitude goes out to Debbie and Diane for providing me with transportation on Friday. This is the second year I participated along with my daughter and my grandkids. Of course, needless to say, I'm pumped. Now, for the purpose of my email. A couple of months ago, during one of your podcasts, I mentioned about the phenomenon of hovering over 2 pounds above goal and then having a physician change your goal when that happened. I was no longer hovering over those 2 pounds, but the number started climbing. You stated you were going to have to think about it and I was wondering if you had pondered that question. Thanks so much for all you've done and will continue to do, Jan. Jan, here is the deal, right? There is a mental ability or disability or whatever you want to call it associated with your actual number for many of us. And so the number, like I said earlier, doesn't matter. And so if you allow yourself to adjust it up to be comfortable, but you don't change the actual habits and the lifestyle, then you certainly will grow into that number. And then you can raise it again to be comfortable. And then if you haven't changed the lifestyle or the habits, you can grow into that number as well. So what we're really working on is not the number, not an exact number, but we're working on a balance of are you eating properly? Are you eating healthy? Do you like yourself? Are you happy with yourself? Those are the more important questions that have nothing to do with the goal weight. Now, I certainly understand the WW model. And being a WW coach here in Indianapolis, I understand the model of as a lifetime member weighing in 2 pounds above your goal weight, then turns into a financial obligation now for you to attend. I get that. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about the rest of your life. How are you going to live it? Right? And I want you to be a lifetime member for the rest of your life. I really do, because that's important for you to have that maintenance. But the expense that needs to come at is you saying, I'm okay where I'm at. Every time you move the goal, if you notice yourself, climbing into it, then what's happening is the way you're reaching that goal is not the true long-term lifestyle that we're after. It's you saying it's suppressing some habits. It's changing using some willpower, I should say. It's using some willpower to kind of dig in really deep, and you can do that for a little bit. Then what happens is you move the goal, and then now that willpower doesn't need to be as strong. So you relax a little bit. And as you relax, boom, you're relaxing back into your old habits. And of course, that means your scale's going to start climbing up. So what you're truly after is the goal is a feeling. It's a feeling of happiness. It's a feeling of you saying, I got this. It's a feeling of you waking up and say good morning to the birds in the winter, right? There are ways for you to celebrate your amazing life that have nothing to do with you stepping on the scale. That's what I'm after for you. And so for some of us, we need that hard line of when I hit this number, I know I'm going to use my willpower, I'm going to use my motivation, I'm going to bring it all back. And so if you're that person that's hovering above the number, below the number, then really truly dig in and dive in and say, what am I doing here? Am I really just doing this with willpower, sheer determination? And if that's the case, then just understand that that's going to take willpower for the rest of your life. Then as social things come up, as stress comes up, as things in your life change, and you only have so much focus to give, and you must devote it somewhere else because that's calling your name loud and clear, then suddenly this part of your journey takes the back seat. What I want you to do instead is I want you to find the things that are truly habitual. They're truly habits. They're things that you are doing naturally. That's the lifestyle we're trying to make the change to so that you go, okay, yes, it's been a rough day. Yes, it's been a rough week. Yes, it's been a rough year. But that doesn't change how I act, how I eat, how I exercise, how I meditate, how I get my head right. None of that changes because those are ingrained into who you are. Look for ways to cope with stress. Look for ways to increase your activity, but doing them so often that they are a part of your life is what we're after. We're not trying here to suppress some bad habits and hope things that, and just, will our way to goal. I did that and you saw what happened, but it works to an extent until your life changes. And then once everything else changes and you're forced to focus on all of the change that's coming at you, your body defaults to what it knows best. And if you haven't changed that programming, then what it knows best is, for me, eating unhealthy and not being well. And then all of a sudden you have to then refocus and say, okay, the happiness is where I want, the lifestyle is what I want, and you got to completely go back in and to rechange it again. So Jen, you've got this, and it's always fun to see you on Twitter. You do a great job of tweeting with me. I love it. So keep up the amazing work there. I see you on Instagram. I see you everywhere, as a matter of fact. So thank you for being such an amazing wingman. I wish you incredible focus as you continue along in your journey. Keep up the amazing work. Last email out of this show comes in out of Princeton Junction, New Jersey. Teddy writes in, says, "Hey, dear FatDag, thank you very much for your service to our country and the Wise Advice podcast. Hey, the podcast has inspired me many times. I wanted to share my journey of weight loss and what I've learned that has worked for me so far. First, some information about me and my weight loss journey. My wife, Renee, and I joined WW for the third time in mid-April of 2017. We were inspired to join by our friend Karen, who had just lost about 35 pounds on WW and had run a 5K. This May 2019, 2 years later, I had reached goal and lost 105 pounds, an average loss of 1 pound a week. I made Lifetime June 2019 and have so far maintained my weight loss. I've been obese all of my life, and it's great to finally not be overweight or obese. The last time I was like this was probably when I was 14 years old. We attended a great and very supportive WW weekly meeting run by my team leader, Brenda, on Saturday morning, 7:30 in the Slackwood Firehouse in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. The things that worked for me this time are, number one, doing WW with my wife. She encouraged me to do it and has been a constant pillar of support. On weeks after a weigh-in where I'd put on weight, she would encourage me and tell me that I would lose it next week. We stopped keeping snacks such as cookies, chips, etc. at home, and also having WW-friendly home-cooked meals on most days. I always have all 3 meals and do not skip breakfast on any day, and I'm never hungry. Number 2, tracking. I track everything for both good days and bad days. There are days I've binge eaten and have tracked 80 points. Tracking has become a habit, and I feel quite uneasy if I'm not able to enter my points either before or just after a meal. Number 3, being accountable for every weekly meeting and weigh-in. I try and make every Saturday weigh-in count. When I was losing weight, I would try and lose something every week. I weigh myself every day. As Saturday approaches, I know where I am with respect to that week's goal, and I moderate the amount of points I eat as weigh-in day gets closer. Number 4, exercising. I try and walk 10,000 steps every day, and I do strength training once or twice a week. I've gotten hooked on the uplifted mood due to release of endorphins after a bout of vigorous exercise. Number 5, having a positive mindset. There's been almost no week in the past 2 years where I have not eaten 40 points on at least one day of that week. However, I do not get upset. It is great to wake up the next morning and know that you have a new 23 points. Every day, every week, it's a fresh start. Number 6, learning from myself. The last point has led to some important observations and the realization that we can each learn from our successful and not so successful weight loss days. Firstly, I observed that putting on weight and losing weight follows the laws of physics. My weight after a day or two binging would go up. It would be up the day or two after that. My weight when I ate less than 23 points would often be down. Since I track my weight every day, I can go back and check what I ate in those days or weeks that I lost weight. But because being able to look back and see what I ate previously on the good days, that has given me the confidence that I can just repeat it to lose the weight that I put on earlier in the week. Similarly, I'm able to observe that what I ate when I put on the weight. Since we have our weigh-in on Saturday mornings, we typically end up eating a lot on Saturday and Sunday. At times, I find that I put on 3 to 4 pounds by Monday morning. However, going back to eating well, keeping within the blue dot point range, I'm often able to lose it back by the Saturday weigh-in and maintain my weight. I am still trying to reach nirvana and become steady in my weight maintenance, not eat too much on the weekends and not keep going up and down and having this weekly dance. Best regards, Teddy. Teddy, congratulations. Lifetime member, 105 pounds lost. Dude, that's incredible. Incredible. You cannot do that on accident. No way, no how. That is you deliberately dialing it in, making a plan, sticking to the plan, doing the best you can with focus. That's all you, my friend. Congratulations on completely changing your life. You got to feel amazing. I can see it in your email as you've done one of the things that I think is the most important. And that is you've reached back now. You've found success. You found what worked and you've reached back and you said, I want to help somebody else figure this out. And that's what you've done. And your list here outlines some things that you found success in. And as people are listening, if they're taking notes, it's great to say, okay, find an accountability partner, whether it be your wife, which is an easy one, right? Or a spouse, or a coworker, a brother, a family member, someone in your meeting room. If you don't have anybody, connect with someone in that workshop and say, hey, I need an accountability buddy. Who's willing to text me every week? Let's go back and forth. But someone to check in with is important. Certainly, we can do that in the Wise Wingman Facebook group, and I'll, very often, if you send me a DM on Twitter or on Instagram, I do my darndest to get back to you personally. It's all me answering all those questions. But having someone to be accountable with kind of reframes your mind and says, I'm doing this for me, but someone's watching. So I know someone's watching, and so therefore, I want to get it right. Not having the snacks and cookies in the house, huge deal, right? Because what you've now done is you figured out, that in the moment where you're tempted the most, having it readily available is the weak spot. And so if you're, 10 o'clock at night, very few people are going to hop in their car and drive to the store for a snack. It's easier at that point to just go to bed. But if it's in the house, it's easier to have it. So doing a great job of getting rid of that is a great job. Tracking's the key, right? Tracking, it goes back to being accountable. It goes back to seeing. And if you ever notice this, right, if you track at the end of the day, it's very hard to remember everything you've eaten for the day. So you start tracking, and then you start doing something else, and then you go, oh, I had this too, and you go back to add it. So real-time tracking, ideally, before you eat, so you can see how many points it is before you even enter it in your mouth. Then you go, do I want this? Yes or no? And you get to make that decision. But that's an incredible tip that we share all the time, is that works. Real-time tracking ahead of time is probably one of the best tips out there. Your weekly workshop, whether you attend a workshop or whether you have some sort of other weekly check-in, certainly is key. Having that exercise, that positive mindset, all lend yourself to learning from what you're doing. That's truly the most important thing you said. So many times on this journey, things aren't going to go the way we anticipated. That's going to happen for every single one of us. You're going to do everything right, and the scale may not agree that particular day. You're going to do everything right, and then all of a sudden, you're going to get invited to the most amazing party of the year, and you're already out of points going in there. You were out of weeklies, and you're going to go anyways, right? You can do great in that environment, but some of us are just not going to do well. But what I'm getting at is, as you go through this process, not everything is going to be perfect for you. Not everything's going to work well. However, everything does work in a sense where if you take the notes and you look back at the data and you do a little bit of analysis and say, okay, here's what happened. I was tired and therefore I overate, or I was hungry, therefore I overate, or I didn't get up late, or whatever the scenario is, you can look back at your week. That's why the check-in is so important. The weigh-in is so important, is that you have that set time every month where you say, this is the time I'm going to check my weight. And at that moment, I'm going to look at that number and I'm going to reflect on the past 7 days. And I'm going to say, what did I do really well this week? And repeat that. Do more of what works. Then you can also look back and say, what are some things that maybe if I could do over again, I would do differently? Careful how you word that, because I don't want you to have this, what did I do wrong? Because you did nothing wrong. What could I have done better? I want you to look back and say, what did I do this week that if I had the opportunity to do next week, I would do differently? That's where the power is, because that's telling you that you're giving yourself forgiveness, you're giving yourself some grace, and you're moving on, and you're saying, but you're learning from it. If you learn from what you're doing, regardless of the number of points you consumed, regardless of the amount of exercise you may or may not have gotten, if you have learned from it, that's where the success is. So as we go through this process, I want you to all of you, take notes, learn, be able to look back, bounce back, have a team. If you're looking for a team, get in the Wise Wingman Facebook group. It's free. Go to facebook.com, search on Wise Wingman. Get in there. It's free, it's private, it's confidential. We don't share outside of that group. And it gives you a group of supportive people that you can rely on and check in with. If you're looking for a little more, we do a chat Mondays and now Wednesdays in Discord. That's for patrons. And you can join the Patreon community. Go to fatdag.com and click on Become a Patron. And that'll send you into that Discord chat where every week we have a couple chats where we just keep each other accountable. You can direct message me through there as well. And I do a decent job of getting back to all of your comments in there as well. So there are multiple ways to find success. The key is you got to do it. You can't just show up and say, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm doing it, without actually doing it. And folks, that's what it takes to get to the point where you're celebrating. And I always want to know what it is that you're celebrating. And so go ahead and share it on the air with me. Go to fatdag.com, click on the Wise Advice podcast link, send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. This show is 100% user content generated up to this point. And I want to keep it that way so that we can say, hey, this is our world. We are doing this better together. Email in those celebrations. I really want you to be proud of what you're doing, and I want you to share what's working for you with other people so they too can find the motivation that you found to completely change your life. Always, always, always thank you for being a wingman. Thank you for walking this journey with me. It's an honor for me to walk it with you, but for now, that's going to do it for this time. Remember, losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goals and go after it. On behalf of my producers, Heather and Lisa, we wish you good focus.